Hey Star, are you ready?
I'm a lady.
And welcome to Idol Days, the show about idol anime. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Star.
And what's that? There's a chill in the air.
Oh, I wish there was. I was just outside. It's 90 degrees.
The days are getting shorter. It's time for Cursed Idol October.
Dun, 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 dun. Curse Idol October. Air horn noises.
Thunder crash.
Wow, Sarah, cool effects that we added in post.
Definitely. So, Cursed Idol October, if you were around last year, is the month where Star and I each watch an idol anime that has been known for not being so great. Or cursed in concept,
Yeah,
like the one we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, this one's so cursed. I tried to watch it when it first came out. I could not get to the first commercial break.
Oh no.
It's like I can't. And I haven't watched it since. And so I made Sarah watch it.
Incredible. And I am here to talk to you about it. So
I'm so excited.
you can all witness, because what is something that is scarier than ghosts?
Politics!
Politics! We're talking about idol incidents.
Can I be real for a hot second?
Yes.
We almost did this episode last year. Too real. Too real.
Yeah, last year would have been too much.
October of 2020.
Yeah, let's not do it during an election year.
Yeah, nah. So welcome to 2021. Things are still weird, but I feel better about talking about this dumbass show now.
Yes. So I'm going to be talking about Idol Incidents. Idol Incidents was an attempt at one of those multimedia idol franchises.
Oh, that hurts my heart, because I haven't heard anything about this show since the anime first came out.
Part of it might be because the smartphone game was released and then the servers shut down in less than a year.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. No one wants to play your idol politicians game.
Yes, so that didn't go over so well. Base concept of Idol Incidents. Japan has been struggling with economics and war and conflict, and the only thing that can save this population from despair is for the politicians to also be idol girls.
Like, I know what the concept is, but I would love to have, been in that meeting.
Right?
Where this was pitched.
I mean, we have horse girls. We could have politician girls, too.
Sarah, I understand that, but this is such a jump from that.
Yep.
See, Sarah, Japan loves horse racing. That's not even a stereotype. I could go to, the freaking Sega arcade in downtown Shizuoka and just, there is a horse racing simulator there, and it was always full of people.
Yep.
Always. The weird dark corner of the Sega arcade. I took you there.
Yes.
You've seen the weird dark corner of the Sega arcade that always had a whole bunch of 40, 50-year-olds in it betting on the virtual horses.
Yep. But what better way to get young people into politics than Idol?
I could think of a couple other ways,
I
but
could
yeah.
think of some too. Okay, so just briefly, for those of you who aren't familiar, Japan's government is set up like a lot of other Western governments, where there are three primary branches of government. There is the Congress. I'm going to be equivalent to the US, so Congress.
Yeah.
There is a judiciary branch, so judges, and then a prime minister who is appointed by Congress, right? So three main branches. All the
I was always confused about what the difference between a prime minister and a president was. It seems like one is just one word and the other is two words.
Well, the interesting thing about the prime minister in Japan, at least, is so the equivalent of their Congress, which is called the Diet, right? So the Diet majority, whatever party is in the majority, nominates someone to be the prime minister. And then in the end, the emperor technically is you're prime minister, but I don't think the emperor has ever been sorry, Diet, you're wrong, but...
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, the Japanese emperor is more just a figurehead, like the queen in Britain now. They don't actually do anything, but they're there.
Yeah, but the interesting thing with that, and I know that there's other European governments that are like this, is that the prime minister isn't directly elected by the people. It's elected by representatives of the people.
Interesting.
Yes. So, interesting thing with Japanese government is basically Japanese Congress has been majority of the LDP, which is one of their political parties for like decades now. LDP is a very conservative-leaning party. There's also a lot of complications with. It has a history of being related to fascism.
Yay!
Main party of Japan, right? So, idol politicians is really interesting.
Oh, I am like smiling with fear in my eyes right now.
Well, it's just
Welcome to Spooky Month, everybody.
Politics. So, traditionally, again, Japan is the majority is LDP, right? There's a bunch of other smaller parties. Some of them have like wild names, like actually real life Japan has wild names. Like one's like the party for not having to pay for the NHK or something.
Nice.
Like, there's just a lot.
I would be in that party because the NHK guy came by my apartment exactly one time. I told him I did not have a television and he never came back.
Yes, it's like the anti-NHK party. Like there's all sorts of parties, and lots of them actually in Japan in real life are very small. Like they might have one person in their Congress, which again is a two-chamber Congress, just like the United States government, right? But like over half of them are LDP, which is this conservative, questionably.
Honestly, it tracks with what I understand about Japan's policies.
Yeah. So that's been like relatively modern Japanese history. So I would say like maybe past 40, 50 years, all LDP. So in this, we're into the Idol anime now.
Okay.
So in this Idol anime, there are the Idol diet women. So they work for the Japanese diet, but they are actually the minority party. And the majority party is called the Ryogai party, and they're all like stiff old men. And basically the concept of this anime is the idol girls try to do something good, and then the Ryogai party try to step in and be evil, and then the idol girls use their idol powers to turn them around. So I'm like, base concept, is this like an anti-LDP anime?
It feels like it.
It feels like it's making a solid political statement there, which
I mean, now granted, you did go ahead and make a show about idol politicians, so I feel like you're gonna have political like implications no matter what you do, given the subject matter of the show.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's wild that it seems like they're painting the majority as the stiff bad guys, which, I mean, they kind of are, because they have the historical revisionism, all of that in real life, but then this weird thing where the idols are going against them, and I'm already like going in, I'm like, interesting choice, directors.
Miranda Cosgrove, interesting.
Intriguing. Like, personally, I think, I support
Would you vote
that.
for the idol, Sarah?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're definitely a populist candidate, right? Like they're just doing what the people want without necessarily having a certain platform. Their platform is the people, which can be good and bad.
Their platform is yellow dress outfits with stripes.
Yeah, so we'll get into it. Let's talk about idol incidents. I just wanted to have that talk about Japanese politics up front, just so you could see the undertones of, I think this is an anti-LDP anime, but I don't know.
Bet you didn't think you were gonna come into this show and learn a real thing. Happy Cursed Idol October, everybody. Here's a very brief lesson on how the Japanese government works.
Yep. So
from a couple of Americans.
Yeah. So going into it, in Idol Incidents, again, main evil guy party is called the Ryogai party. They're all old people. They're like the establishment. The prime minister.
I love that it sounds like old guy party.
The old guy party. The prime minister is Ryogai, and whenever there's some evil plotting behind the scenes, he's there. He's like clean shaven. He has like curly grayish hair. He's big.
Is he an old guy?
He's an old guy because it's the old guy party.
Old guy party.
And then there are the idol diet women. There's not a lot of them that are shown. I imagine there's more in the game.
In the RIP mobile game.
Yep. But for all intents and purposes for our show today, there's only really 2 that are important.
Okay.
Maybe 2 more that are kind of side characters.
Cool, because you sent me a picture with 9 of them.
No.
And they all look very similar.
They don't matter.
There's like 4 blonde ones.
They don't matter. So, main character, her name is Natsuki. She is bottom row center of the picture I sent you. She is main character.
She looks like a Natsuki.
Yes. She has red hair and pigtails. And then she has like these little braids that go in front of her ears that like go yellow in the middle and then back to red.
Okay, so she's growing out of her scene girl phase. Got it.
But only on her bangs.
Only on her yeah.
And
she was like too scared to go full scene girl.
yes, absolutely. Her personality is the red center main character.
Okay.
She's happy-go-lucky. She's never been into politics or any real official idol things before.
And so let me guess, everything is going to be explained to her in the show as a segue to like teach the audience about things, right?
I mean, as much as you actually learn about things in the show.
Fair.
Other character that's important is Shizuka. Mm-hmm. She has long brown hair. She's the blue one.
Okay.
She's
Blue
serious.
Personality.
She's a diet woman that's been reelected, I think, 2 or 3 times at this point. Mm-hmm. Which, again, is wild, because I think they're supposed to be, like, teenagers. So, first of all, you have to be 25.
They look like fucking teens, yeah.
In real life, you have to be, like, 25 to run for the lower side of government in Japan. I assume in this alternative Japan, that's not a problem, but I don't know.
Just write Forever 17 on your Idol Diet Woman application.
And so those are the 2 main characters. They are both in the heroine party, which is the name of their party, the heroine party. So they're
with an E at the end, right?
Heroine party, yes.
Okay.
Heroine. They are main characters. Natsuki is the mainest of characters. Shizuka is the blue sidekick, right?
The sidekick, yeah.
The only other 2 characters that I might mention more than once, really, in the show are Sachie. Okay. Sachie has blonde hair with like a hime cut in the front, but like a braid in the back. Mm-hmm. She is the chairperson of the heroine party. So she is technically a diet woman, but she also does a lot of managing. She's kind of like their manager.
She's kind of
in
their
Idol
Ritsuko.
time. Yes.
Got it.
And the only other character that shows up a little, like, is slightly important, is only for backstory reasons, is Mizuki. She's the chairperson of one of the other parties called the Sunlight Party. And you find out at some point that Shizuka used to be in the Sunlight Party and Mizuki was her mentor.
Her senpai.
Yes, senpai. Otherwise, so 2 main characters, Natsuki, Shizuka, red and blue. And really only the ones who matter.
Well, that's good, because that's fewer names that I have to remember.
Yes. I will briefly mention, so they're in the heroine party. There are a few other parties that are mentioned in the show. And all of them are idol parties, right? So all of them are parties with idols in them. Okay. Which at this point, I'm like, if you're all idols and you're all populous, like, why are you splitting up into separate parties?
Up? Yeah, combine your
You'll
powers.
never be majority.
Nope.
Like, what are you doing? So some of the other parties, there is the Sunlight Party, as mentioned, with Mizuki. Mm-hmm. There's the Starlight Party.
Hey, that's me.
There's the Bishoujo Party.
Oh.
There is the Wakaba Party. And then there's the New Subculture Party.
Okay.
So they come up different episodes.
Okay.
So let's get into the actual show. Episode 1 starts with the guy dying.
I guess.
Rip, I guess. Turns out he was a diet man with the real guy party.
Now he's just a dyed man.
Now he's just a dyed man. And because he died, there is now an open spot in the diet. Cool. So the heroine party, Sachie is driving around his precinct trying to find somebody to be like a candidate for the heroin party.
Which is
right?
a wild way to recruit people for your political party.
And she talks about, like, she's talking to her driver, who's also her assistant. He shows up a few times. I don't even know what his name is. He's the guy who shows up sometimes. Yep. And she's like, wow, I didn't find anyone. How sad. But then she sees in the rice fields a commotion. And she's like, stop the car. And she goes out, and there's Natsuki. And she's doing an idol performance to the workers on this rice field to encourage them to do rice good. So Sachie's like, wow, I have a good feeling about this girl, and gives her a card and is like, hey, we are trying to pick out a candidate soon. You should come to the auditions.
Hey, Sarah, how many minutes into the first episode are we?
Yes, this is the first half of the first episode.
Okay, this is the part where I turned off the TV. This is as far as I remember. I was like, no, I turned it off.
It's incredible. So pretty much immediately, next scene, Natsuki is at the audition. And to audition to become a candidate for the heroin party, they have to make it to the top of a really big hill first. So to be able to enter your political race, you have to win a literal race. A literal race. In the end, Natsuki is the only one who won, just because she's so determined and so main character, she didn't give up.
Okay.
Because she's the main character.
Okay.
So she is officially the heroin party's candidate. This is all first part of the first episode.
Okay.
So then she starts campaigning, because of course that's what you would do next.
Yes. Are they handing out, Sarah, they're handing out flyers.
She hands out flyers.
One more for the bingo sheet!
And also part of her campaign is she's going to put on a concert with one of the other heroin party diet women, Shizuka, the blue one, who we know.
Hey, is she the one who recruited her, right?
No, Sachi is the one who recruited.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. No, Shizuka, this is your first time meeting her officially in the show. But Shizuka is the blue one, so she's like, well, I'm serious, you're a new politician, you don't know what you're doing, I don't want to team up with you, right? So even though Shizuka doesn't officially team up with Natsuki, Sachi is still like, no, we're going to have this joint concert. Shizuka, you're going to come around, I'll train her. So Sachi spends a lot of time training Natsuki for the live. But Natsuki isn't great because it's the first episode and she's a main character and she's new, but she does her gone best. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, well, right before Natsuki is defeated, she starts flashing back to her time cheering up people on the rice fields like 10 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, I can do this. Meanwhile, with all of this, Natsuki, like, trying really hard and being like, nope, I'm going to do it. I'll be fine anyways, even though it's hard. Shizuka is having her own conflict, and you find out the reason why she's pushing Natsuki away is back when she was in the Sunlight Party, she was told that her idol aura hurts people. It's like a double-sided sword.
What?
Which you're like, okay, this is the first episode, and I don't have anything going on right now, but sure.
We're still in the first episode.
Still in the first episode. So Shizuka's like, no, I've been told to team up, but I can't team up because of all this trauma in my past.
Okay.
But then it's concert time. And it sounds like a lot is happening really fast and skipping around, and that's because it is. There's no in between.
Yeah.
And then it's concert time, and Natsuki is on stage, ready to sing alone if she has to. Even if Shizuka's not there, she's determined because of how good she was to cheer up people in the rice fields. And also, like, I just want to say, like, so, like, Natsuki goes on stage and she's in her idol outfit. And here's one of my complaints about the show.
Okay, lay it on me.
Despite the concept, the outfits and songs are actually really cute.
Oh, no!
Like, I didn't want to like it, but I do. So they have, like, really frilly layered skirts, and they have like a half jacket top with like a little wing coming out the side and a little hat, and they're just really cute.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm watching the video now.
And it's just it's upsetting how cute the outfits are.
Oh, It just panned out to the full body shot.
It's
okay,
incredible.
I hate that I'm into this.
I do too. That's the thing. So Natsuki goes on stage. She's about to sing, but like she's alone. And then Shizuka shows up and she's like, no, I'm going to sing with you. I'm going to overcome my past trauma. And also, I know you're stronger than that because I saw how you didn't give up during training. And then they do their concert together. And the song's actually really cute. They do have idol auras, which I feel like should also be on our bingo card.
Yeah, so a little bit of backstory. Sarah and I actually did make an Idol Days bingo card.
Yes.
We haven't posted it anywhere at the time of recording, but I feel like we should.
Yes, I feel like an idol aura that people can literally see should be on it. Because there is an idol aura that people can literally see.
Yeah,
and
I'm
they're
looking
like,
at it right now. I see it.
They're like, wow, this idol aura is incredible. And Sachi's in the back being like, yep, I knew it. Natsuki was the right candidate for the job. And because her idol aura is so powerful, Natsuki wins her seat.
Amazing.
And she's a diet woman officially now.
Yay.
Yay!
Good for you. So hang on, I'm circling back. So you said earlier that Shizuka, Blue Girl, she has an idol aura that hurts people. And I'm watching this video, and the idol aura is just like a bunch of like flowers that just kind of show up. Was her old one like knives?
Maybe. They don't show it.
Did she have idol knives?
Maybe.
Like she stepped on stage, she's like, hello, kite kudasai, and just knives.
Well, We'll get back to idols with weapons on stage.
Oh no!
We'll get back to that towards the end. We'll circle back around there. But I think the general idea was that she pushed people away and she was solo independent, but then Natsuki with her knives. But the Natsuki was so main character puppy dog. Shizuka's like, no, I can't leave this one alone.
Okay.
Because the red one and blue one are like that all the time, always.
Okay. Yep, it's fine.
All right. So the next series of episodes are, you know how like in other idol shows, like you get an episode dedicated to individual characters?
Yeah.
This time you get an episode dedicated to individual other idol parties.
Okay.
So episode 2 focuses on the harem party girls interacting with the sunlight party.
Sunshine!
Sunshine!
It's all just Aqua. This is what they did after they graduated. They became politicians.
I mean,
we'll
maybe.
Ignore the fact that this show came out years before Sunshine did. like 4 years before.
Which is good, because 4 years sounds like enough for some of those idols to retire after their terms and then be hired. Here we are, Chico, diet woman.
Yep.
So episode 2, it starts with the idol diet woman getting news that one of their an area under their jurisdiction-ish, like some of their voters are having trouble with this land that's kind of just turned into a dump site.
Okay.
So specifically it's a dump site for like old circus equipment or something. So they're like giant like Moai statues. Like it's really weird, but it's a dump site and the citizens are upset. So Shizuka, Natsuki, and Sachi, they all drive over to the dump site to check it out, see what they can do. A few things happen at once. First, you meet the main characters of the Sunlight Party. I'm not going to say their names because they barely come up.
They don't matter.
But they immediately are like, no, we don't want to work with you guys because Shizuka's betrayed us, right?
I thought you were going to say Shizuka's a bitch because you kind of cut off
Shizuka
there.
is a knife bitch.
Oh.
But that's when you start learning more that Shizuka used to be in their party, all of that backstory. But I already said that, so that's fine. But right when they are about to like hang their heads in defeat and be like, oh, I guess the Sunlight Party doesn't want us, some truck comes by dumping more garbage on this land.
Cool.
And you find out that the person who is enabling this is a Ryogai party member. So another diet man of the evil party.
No.
And he's like, you can't stop me. The bylaws allow for dumping here on this land. Plus, I'm friends with the landowner. You can't stop me. It's private property.
Oh!
So they all, eventually disperse. They're like, well, we got to think of a way around this, right? We can't break the law, but the law is bad, and the citizens need change. That night, main Sunlight Party person who pushed Shizuka away is, out, wandering around the dump site, and Natsuki sees her. And being the main character she is, she goes out, and she starts talking to her, and she learns that Sunlight Party person actually grew up in this town and remembers when everything was pretty and not a dump site, and the fields were clean and people enjoyed being outside. And she's like, I really wish it wasn't like this with all this garbage. Mm-hmm. And then Natsuki's like, no, I'll think of something. I'll have an idea. You just have to work with us. Please, just work with us. And then the Sunlight Party person's like, okay, I will relent. I will work with you and Shizuka on one condition, which is you show how brave and how good at idling you are in a 1-to-1 contest with me.
Okay.
And the contest is bungee jumping off of a mountain.
Okay.
So Shizuka is ready to be the bungee jumper in the competition, but Natsuki's like, no, I love heights, let me do it. So basically they go to different platforms, each consecutively getting higher off the mountain, right? Mm-hmm. And Natsuki, not afraid at all, she just bungee jumps. She's like, heck yeah, I love heights, this is the best thing ever. And then the Sunlight Party chairperson is like, no, eventually gets scared, right, and faints. Mm-hmm. At the highest cliff, however, Natsuki jumps off. Her rope does break. So
I was about to say, does her rope break?
Her rope does break, but it's of no consequence. She lands in a lake. But what she learned while she was falling from that great height is she could see the dump site. And from up high, she's like, wow, even though I know it was trash from the ground, from up high it almost looks like art. And that's when they're like, wait, we got it. And what they decide to do is they go back to the dump site and they're like, hey, even though we're legally not allowed to remove all of this junk, we can transform it. So they get the local community in on it, and then for every person who transforms some of the junk into a community art piece gets a free handshake. So it's like a charity handshake event.
Huh.
Because they're idols.
Because they're idols.
Because they're idols. So that's how that is resolved. And now the Sunlight Party and the Heroine Party have a good camaraderie. They're on the same page again. Yay, new friends.
And all it took was jumping off the side of a mountain a couple times.
All it took was jumping off the side of a mountain. Episode 3. So this is kind of how they all work, is there's going to be a practical community problem, and then they're going to use their idol powers to solve it and then make new friends. It's basically what's going to happen.
Okay.
So episode 3, you meet the Starlight Party. So Heron Party gets some more news. It turns out that there's a cat island. And this cat island everyone goes to because there's cats everywhere. They worship the cats. They have a cat festival at this time of the year. But what do you know? All the cats are gone. And they need help figuring out what happened to the cats.
Aliens.
It was aliens.
I knew it!
So they go to the island. On the way there, they actually run into another member of the Ryogai party who is, again, in charge of this area. Her name is Nekoshima. She has cat ears and cat eye eyeglasses.
I'm sorry. Her name is Cat Island.
Yes.
Woof.
But here's the thing, Star. She hates cats.
Oh no! Irony name.
I wonder what happens to the cats.
She's the alien.
She's the alien. They look around for the cats. They get involved with the local community. which leads them to this old lady who's selling udon. And the udon lady's like, there was a prophecy that when all the cats are gone, 4 maidens will dance on the stage of stone and the cats will return. Oh,
God, really?
Yep. So they find all the 4 stone stages. All of them, when they like ceremonially pour water on them, have initials of the Starlight Party girls' names, plus Natsuki because she's the main character.
What?
So they go on, they do their dance. Which, again, like, the music and the costumes, like, for all of the parties are really cute. Like, they each have, like, individual costumes for the parties, and then they have, like, a group costume that you see in a lot of the promos, and then all of them are good. Like, they're good costumes.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on the fact that there was an idol prophecy.
Yeah, of course there's an idol prophecy.
Should we add that to the bingo card? How many shows do we have that have idol prophecy?
It counts. And while they do their dance and song, the sound of their music and their idol aura goes out across the island into the air, and it calls all the cats back from the offshore area that evil cat lady was hiding them. And all the cats have returned to the island. Oh, I also forgot to mention this last episode and the episode before, but every time there's an evil Ryogai party person and they're there and they see a concert, like when the idol aura washes over them, all of a sudden they get hard eyes and now they're converted and they quit their party.
Okay.
So this idol aura has powerful political implications.
I mean, AKB kind of had that too.
Here's the other thing, Star.
There was definitely like, oh no!
I feel like this might be the Japan that leads up to AKB. And I will explain more later.
I don't think you need to. I think I got it.
Yeah. It gets even more convincing later, though, I promise.
Oh, God.
I can't believe that the Love Live Sunshine Girls go into politics and then Butterfly flaps its wings AKB.
Amazing.
So, cats have returned. Nekoshima is now not evil, and now she likes cats because the idol music convinced her. Everything is good. Episode 4. You meet the Bishoujo party.
Okay.
So for this one, it's actually not a problem with the community event. It is actually the annual Idol Diet Woman swimsuit contest.
I just slammed my head into my desk and lost consciousness for a few seconds. What happened?
The swimsuit contest is not just a swimsuit contest. It's also like kind of a, like the Wipeout show where people have to like go like run through concerts. It's also like the mud contest and Zombieland Saga. They have to like go through obstacles, but they're also wearing swimsuits because, of course, they are. So you meet the Bishoujo party. They are the ones running this contest. They're the ones who win almost every year. The Bishoujo party is just made up of a bunch of hotties. That's like their whole thing, right?
Couple of hotties with the bodies.
And also a passion for politics.
Hey.
It also kind of, this whole scene also reminded me of like my last year's Cursed Idol October Idol project where they had the weird race. Yeah. I was like, wow, Idol flashbacks.
Yep. Trauma. Sarah's been scarred for life by Idol project.
Yeah, and part of that is because there's a point where evil Ryogai party person is like, I will embarrass them in public, and to embarrass them, I'll put octopi in the water, so when they fall in the octopi, I'll suck on their legs. And also, I'll give them swimsuits that dissolve in water. Aren't I evil?
Okay, that feels like sexual harassment.
Yeah! And also a little bit like, oh, anime, why are you doing this?
Yeah, if it hadn't already, this has now earned its place in the Cursed Idol October.
Cursed. But in the end, the other girls defend there's only 2 girls here wearing the swimsuits. They defend them. They win all their races. And then it's time for the final part, which, like in Ninja Warrior, they have to climb up a mountain, like a glass mountain, right? Mm-hmm. But as they get up towards the top, evil Ryogai party guy is there with a wrench, and he, like, the whole thing starts crashing down. And their, like, story is high. And I'm like, this whole thing is, like, this is like a manslaughter charge, guys.
Yeah, it's not good.
But anyways, with their idol dexterity and song-singing powers, the Bishoujo party saves the day, catches everyone from falling, and if they do fall all the way, they fall in water, so they're okay. And their song they sing converts the Ryogai party person, and now Bishoujo party is friends with Natsuki and Shizuka, and everything is okay. Episode 5 is one of my favorite ones.
Okay. Fear.
So, episode 5 begins where Natsuki is given the opportunity to be police chief for a day for a small neighborhood in Tokyo.
Okay.
Right? So she puts on her, like, fake deputy uniform, like Judy Hopps over here. She's all excited. She just, like, does, like, silly things like, citation for you, but doesn't actually write a citation because the person's like, wow, an idol, I'll be good now, you know? Mm-hmm. And then right when the day's over and she's about to turn over her badge, a call comes in. Because there are hostages at the local preschool.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, Natsuki, we gotta go, bye. And Natsuki's like, no, you're taking me with you. And they're like, the police chief is like, what do you mean I'm going with you? And you're going with us. And she's like, I'm the chief now, bud. You sit down and follow me, right?
I am the top Idaru.
I am the police chief Idaru. So they go to the area where the preschool is, only to find out while they're there, they get some inside intel. The people who were taken hostage in the preschool weren't the preschoolers. They were the Wakaba party members. Like other idol diet women.
Idols. Okay, then I do care.
Idol diet women, right? Notably, these idol diet women are like kids. Like, I really don't know what the minimum age is to run for office here.
Apparently it's 7.
Yes, apparently. And the people who had taken them hostage are the preschoolers. And they say, if you don't meet our demands, we will do something horrible to the Wakaba Party diet members.
Okay.
And the cops are like, what do? We can't just storm in because they're heckin' preschoolers. We don't want to cause injury to children. What? But also, we don't know what sort of firearms they have.
They are literal babies. What?
And so Natsuki is like, I'll go talk to them. I'm the police chief. So she strides on in, only to get kidnapped herself.
Doit. Okay, Sarah, I have to know how these small children accomplish this task.
Well, what you find out is that they were working together with the diet woman. Because what had happened is the diet woman went in, and they found out that that preschool is getting shut down because of a lack of government funding.
Oh, so it's Love Live Preschool Idol Project.
Love Live Preschool Idol Project. But extreme because there's also a hostage situation.
Okay.
So to get their demands heard by the party and government as a whole, they're like, hey, let's stage this hostage situation so they hear us and vow that they won't shut down the preschool and will provide funding instead of funding other things in the city. Right?
Okay.
So Natsuki hears this and she's like, you know what? I'll help however I can. So she goes out and she's like, hey, everyone, here are their specific demands, right? And so she starts listing off how the preschool needs to be funded. Meanwhile, outside the area, there's like the police chief who was working with Natsuki and likes Natsuki. And so he's freaked out because he's like, I don't know what the like right thing to do here is, because he thinks Natsuki's been kidnapped. And also he doesn't want to go in with a bunch of like riot gear to preschoolers.
Yeah.
Also, through all this, there's no teachers, so I don't know if they actually did kill their teachers or something.
They're all dead now. It's what's that book you have to read in high school that I never actually read? Where the kids on the island.
The island kids.
Yeah,
I know what it is.
Yeah, you know that kid with the island kids and the conch.
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies. Yeah,
we got it.
Lord of the Flies situation.
So outside, police chief is freaking out. Also, all the parents are there, and by parents, they're mostly the moms. So like all the moms are there outside freaking out about their children being there, right? Mm-hmm. And then who rolls up but a Ryogai party member? And he's listening to all this, and he's like, no way, pshaw. Just go ahead and storm in with your guns and riot gear. We'll take those preschoolers out. They're committing a crime.
That sentence was wild.
I love this episode.
This is a wild sentence.
And then on top of that, he's like, and there's no way we're putting money into this preschool. And he's like, the actual reason why we're not like funding this preschool is because if we fund it, then like all of these moms, what they're doing right now is they're working during the day, and women should be home taking care of their children and not putting their children in preschool.
Oof.
Which again, this goes back to the whole like, there's like a meta like political statement that the people who made this franchise are trying to put out. And it's not the meta that I would honestly say mainstream Japanese politics have. This is like very much feminist for Japanese politics.
Like I dig it, but it's
I know.
Wild.
And so what happens is the Ryogai guy is like, yeah, women should stay at home and watch the children and quit their jobs when they have kids. They shouldn't have kids if they can't afford it. Like, stop working part-time jobs. But like, one of the other people there is like, well, hey, but like, if they can't work part-time jobs, like the people in this neighborhood aren't wealthy. Like they're going to struggle to eat anyways if the women aren't doing that. Plus women are important in society, right? Mm-hmm. And then as this is explained, and he's all like, no, he steps on a wasp nest, Ryogai party member, and gets stung by wasps.
Good.
Yes, definitely good. And while he is panicking, it turns out he's like allergic to wasps or something. All of the moms step in, even though he's been saying nasty things about them. And they're like, oh, wait, let's go deal with these wasps. I know how to do this, blah, 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 blah. And they save his life. Mm-hmm. All the moms. Turns out that the mom who medically attended to him was a nurse at the local place, and she's only here to help her kids, and that's why her kid's in preschool during the day is because she's a nurse saving people's lives. And then the person who took out the bees safely was a biologist. And the person who got smoke to disperse the bees was a firefighter. And the guy's like, wait, all of these working moms actually are doing good and shouldn't just be women watching their children.
Wow!
Imagine!
What the fuck, guy?
Jeez!
Holy shit. I have, like, a small amount of respect for Politician Idol anime now. Like, what?
Right?
How'd that happen?
Like, again, like, just the meta politics of this is, like, the people who are making the show have there's, like, it's hidden in this weird-ass idol anime.
Sarah, it's not hidden.
But they obviously have a political view and it is not LDP, which is wild.
It's LD Yeet. Get him out of there.
LD Yeet! I'm like, I want to know, maybe like a equivalent of a Japanese pack made this anime. Who knows? What if this, here's my conspiracy hat.
Oh
Put
boy,
it
like
on.
actual conspiracies now.
What if the people who funded this anime were trying to keep somebody from getting elected?
I need this tea, Sarah.
I mean, I feel like it's possible.
Do they have an episode about how to register to vote?
I mean, well, maybe. I don't know. This is just conspiracy hat off, but just think about that.
I'm thinking about, like, I've been thinking about it. The thoughts are there, Sarah, and they're not leaving.
Anyways, at some point, them waiting outside long enough, they're like, okay, we'll just send the kids back out. It's probably resolved now. Like, they never actually communicate the fact that the guy's changed his mind, but the hostage situation is over, right?
Yeah.
So kids leave the school. While they're leaving, the Wakaba party sings a cutesy little song. Which converts the Ryogai guy all the way. Like, he converted part of the way after talking to the moms. So now he's all the way, like, pro-diet woman, pro-feminism.
Conversion complete. Beep boop.
Yes, conversion complete. And everything is okay. Also, you find out you don't actually get information about what happens to the preschool next. So that's kind of notable. You're like, did they get funded or not? We don't know.
We don't know if this hostage situation was did anything. Cool that we spent so much of the episode on this.
We just know that the guy is like, well, actually, maybe women should work if they want to.
That's the important bit, I guess.
Yes. So at the end, there's also some scenes interspersed, some meta plot where Shizuka is meeting up with this old guy. And he keeps being like, Shizuka, you can't do this anymore. This idol thing is foolish and childish. You should come back to me. So you're like, well, it's probably Shizuka's dad, just context clues. Mm-hmm. But then you're also like, yeah, she's an idol, but she also is a politician.
Yeah.
like that's not necessarily something to be ashamed of.
Yeah, no.
No.
Not really.
Nope. But yeah, so that was episode 5. I loved it because idol hostage preschoolers. It's great.
That's exactly your brand.
Episode 6. This is the one where you meet the last of the idol parties, at least in the show. Mm. The new subculture party.
Okay.
So the episode begins with the 2 girls, and they're shooting a tiny hobby rocket off of the roof of the diet building.
Okay.
And you find out that they're part of the new subculture party. There are apparently multiple party members, but the one who's kind of the main character in this one, her whole thing is she loves space, and she wants to hold an event at the diet building where she will show people how great space and rockets are by launching a bunch of rockets every night. But during her proposal, during the meeting, like this is during a normal diet meeting, she gets immediately shot down by this other member. And apparently this guy, this Ryogai guy, he only comes in like once a year. And when he does, all he does is refute everything the idols say. Like, it doesn't matter what they're saying, how good their points are, he just shuts them down immediately. And everyone also, like, thinks he's kind of creepy. Like, he wears this, like, nasty cologne that makes Natsuki sneeze whenever she's around. Also, he just kind of is like, he has, like, a voice like this, you know?
Blah.
Blah. So his whole thing is he hates the girls and he'll do anything to just, like, shut them down. No matter what, even if their points are good, right?
Fucking sucks.
And his main point about this rocket thing is that they can't shoot rockets off the building because there's no precedent for it. So she has no foundation because there's no precedent. But the harem party sees this and they're like, you know what? This sucks. Let's go help the new subculture party. So they go in and they decide to help. While they're talking, they're like, hey, why did they say there's no precedent? Do people not ever go to the roof of the diet building? And then creepy guy comes in, which you know immediately because Natsuki starts sneezing and then he shows up. And he's like, oh, the reason why people don't go to the roof is because it's haunted. You shouldn't go there. And then the girls are like, oh no, I hate ghosts. But thankfully, another party member shows up. And actually, this is another party I forgot existed. This other party is called the SOS party. So the SOS party comes up and apparently they love ghosts. And they love creepy stuff, and they say, hey, tonight, you know what we can do? We can go upstairs and we can exercise the upper floors.
Okay.
Makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, that night, New Subculture Party, SOS Party, and Heroine Party go back into the diet building, and they go upstairs to exercise the top floors. At some point, it's split up where Space Girl, the girl who's really into space, she's, like, downstairs, like, grabbing her rockets or something before they go upstairs, while everyone else is upstairs to deal with the ghosts. Upstairs, basically what happens is definitely not evil Ryogai member sets up a hologram to like make a bunch of ghosts, and they freak out and they start running around and fighting them. That's going on upstairs. Downstairs, Star, and I'm so excited to say this, we have a white Italian Secco boys.
No!
So in the Japanese diet building, in the main hall, there are 3 statues. And these statues are like some of the founding fathers of Japanese politics, like way beginning of when like the diet was even formed. They're pictures of, they're statues of these guys, right? There's 3 of them. And then there's an empty pedestal, and there's like rumors of like if it's meant to be like, oh, you could be there too, or if it was just like they couldn't decide who to be the person in the 4th corner. Anyways, 3 guys. So as little space girl comes out of the room with her rocket ready to go upstairs, all of a sudden these 3 statues are behind her, and they're like, are you that girl from the new subculture party?
Oh.
Like they were standing, and she looks at them and she's like, are you the legends of Japanese politics?
What?
So then they have like this talk where the statues are like, wow, you girls are sure lively. You made politics so much more fun now. And then the other girl's like, yeah, but the Ryogai party keeps shutting us down. They say that what we're doing has no precedent, that we're not doing good enough. And then the statue is like, well, I can see your motivation and how you touch people. And you know what? There was no precedent when we existed because we created the government. And what you're doing, you got to create your own precedent. You can do it, girl. We love you. These people in the Ryogai party, they suck. They're boring. They're too conservative, which again, you're like, this is like really anti-LDP because they're like basically saying the founders of Japanese politics would hate the mainstream government at this point, right? Like meta plot, you're like, outside the anime, I mean. But anyways, Space Girl is not scared about these statues coming to life and talking to her. She's just excited about the fact that the politicians of old approve of the idols, and also that space is so wondrous and mysterious that even this is a possibility. So this probably takes place in the same universe as Secco Boys.
Incredible.
Just some joy there. Meanwhile, upstairs...
I mean, listen, joy is an emotion, I guess.
Meanwhile, upstairs, one of the girls in the subculture party is really into historic Japanese, like, samurai stuff, so she stabs what she thinks is a ghost with a katana. Turns out to be a hologram robot, you know. And when she does,
have those?
The ghost hologram flickers and, like, kind of shatters, but still emitting light. And then when that happens, Natsuki looks up at the ceiling and she's like, wow, it looks like a planetarium in here. And, like, meanwhile, evil Ryogai guy is going downstairs being like, grumble, grumble, grumble to kill my robot. In the end, what happens is that the space girl sees this planetarium thing and she's like, you know what? I have a better idea. And so she, instead of shooting rockets off the building, creates like a community stargazing event upstairs. Because she's like, this is more accessible. And after my talk, I thought of ways to adapt my approach and able to like find a reason to start new precedent using like traditions of old. They sing their idol songs. Ryogai guy is converted. Everyone is happy. The end. Also, statues come to life, and there's no explanation for it at all, ever.
We'll just move past that.
So, episode 7. We're starting to get into, like, endgame plot here a little bit. So, Harem Party finds out that there is going to be a stadium built in Natsuki's hometown, like where the rice fields are.
Okay.
And a bunch of people are writing in being like, hey, this stadium, we don't want it built the way it is. Like, it's going to be too big. It's going to be too hard to maintain. It's taking away all of our tax dollars that we need to go to local things. Come, please help us, right? Mm-hmm. So she goes to the town, and while she's there and scouting out the site, she finds the name of the company who's in charge of the construction. And she's like, I'll go talk to the construction company and see if we can change the plans, see who's funding it, who we can talk to about it, find a compromise, right? Mm. And when she goes there, who's in charge of the construction company but Shizuka's dad?
Dun, dun, dun!
And he's like, hey, sorry, I know that you want to stop this, but like, money's money. You can't tell me what to do. It's being funded by the Ryogai party, and we have like this camaraderie, and I'm sorry, your idol stuff is just frivolous. You can't convince me. My daughter can't convince me. Bye.
Wow.
So Natsuki is sad, but she realizes that it's Shizuka's dad because their names are the same. So she goes to Shizuka, and she's like, hey, Shizuka, come with me. Let's go talk to your dad together.
Hey, your dad sucks.
Your dad
use you as a human
sucks.
shield.
So Shizuka's like, I don't know what to do. He doesn't listen to me. He doesn't care about what I'm doing. I'm not going to go talk to him, right? But like in the background, whenever you see her alone, she's like browsing like the plans for the stadium construction. So you're like, oh, but she's still thinking about this, right? Meanwhile, she's thinking about this, but she also, in the meanwhile, she's just practicing her idol songs because they're also idols. So while she's dancing one day, her former party leader of the Sunlight Party, Mizuki, comes in. And she's like, hey, Shizuka, I've noticed you've changed recently. And Shizuka's like, what are you talking about? And Mizuki says, like, you're not pushing people away anymore. I think that Natsuki, like, really changed you. I think you're a stronger person now, and I feel like people feel like they can collaborate with you now instead of you pushing them away. You have no more knives. So she's like, maybe I can make a change here. Maybe my dad isn't just impossible to get to, because if I can change, maybe my dad can change, right? Mm-hmm. So she goes up to Natsuki, and she's like, you know what? You're right. Let's work together. Let's put on a live to convince my dad to change the stadium plans. So they put on a live. Before their live starts, like, it's wild because it's like an idol concert. There's people there with like the king blades, and the two girls go out in their frilly idol costumes, and they're like, please look at this PowerPoint about the stadium construction.
Okay.
So they show like pictures of like things that children in the community drew for like their visions of what a stadium should be that would actually include the community and not be too hard to run and not too expensive. And the girls are like, here are some of the things that can be done. We're going to work hard together. And now let's sing and dance. So they do their song and dance. It's the same song from before, only this time they're together the whole time. And the dad comes in, and he's like, I'm convinced. So in the end, you get the news that the dad has decided that the project will be reevaluated and made to a smaller scale, and both the construction pump company and the people of the community are happy thanks to idols.
Okay.
Episode 8. Starts like directly from last episode, right? So like the construction has been halted, they're reevaluating. And the Ryogai members are looking at this news, and they're like in a meeting together with the prime minister. And they're like, you know, before these idol diet women were a nuisance, but they've converted a bunch of our evil people to be not evil anymore. They're like changing our plans at this rate. Like the prime minister, we might not be the majority anymore. Like, we need to do something. So the prime minister's like, never fear, I have a plan. So you're like, uh-oh, they're actually stepping up.
They'll kill the idols.
They'll kill the idols. With political moves. That being, they, all of a sudden, Shizuka and Natsuki get a mysterious invite to appear on a show, a TV show, as news commentators. So, like, as consultants for the daily news. And they're like, okay, sure, we're politicians, this is normal. But Sachi is like, hey, guys, just watch out while you're there because this is Idol Fox News, basically.
Oh, good.
So they're very conservative, very pro-Ryogai party, like, not they'll take anything you say and spin it against you. So just be careful what you say. So they go in, and Shizuka is immediately like business, like, I got this, I won't say anything, I won't give them anything. But at some point, Natsuki starts like running her mouth, being like, yeah, we did this project and it helped people, and we saved the preschool, and we fixed the stadium. And then all of a sudden, the host interrupts them, and we're like, oh, do you really think you fixed it? And then he shows them a very biased cut-up newsreel about like how all of the projects that we just saw over the last 7 episodes were all failures. So like the dump just turned into a problem because after people couldn't dump their stuff anymore, all the streets got filled up with trash. And the preschool, even though they fixed the hostage situation, there was still no government funding. And all of these other things, right? So, like, all these bad things happened because of their interference. And then Natsuki is, like, shocked. She's like, I didn't realize that this stuff had happened. And she just doesn't know what to say because she had never seen the aftermath. So afterwards, Natsuki is not her normal main character self. She's very sad. And she's also gets even more sad when they go back to the home office and they keep getting calls like from like constituents, and they're all calls complaining about the Idol Diet woman. And she's like, wow, this sucks.
Yep.
And then on top of that, one of the little kids from Natsuki's hometown calls her directly and is like, hey, Natsuki, there's a problem. They decided to halt the stadium construction altogether after that. Like, what do? We were actually kind of hoping for this community thing now that it was agreed to be changed.
Yeah.
And Natsuki's like, oh, I hecked up.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, I fucked up.
There's also, like, a weird thing with, like, paparazzi, like, taking mysterious pictures of people and telling lies. One of which is, like, a picture of Shizuka and her dad and be like, a mysterious affair. And it's like, dudes, that's creepy, no.
Gross.
But the interesting thing, actually, at this point, which I actually appreciate from the anime, so as Natsuki is taking her, like, sad idol time downturn, sad idol politician, because it's mostly based on politics, not on idols, Shizuka, after the last thing with convincing her dad and getting him to change his mind, she's actually doing great. So she went from being like, I'm pushing people away, I can't be happy, now she's, like, determined. She's like, I'm going to collaborate, work with the community, we're doing great. I love Natsuki. She's the best partner ever. And Natsuki's like, I'm sad. But it's interesting because, like, they remain each other's foils this whole time. And you're like, this is actually an interesting, like, interaction. So, yeah, I actually was like, hey. So, during all of this, with all the paparazzi stuff and, like, the bad press for the Idol Diet woman, so she's working hard, and she starts talking to the other party people, like the other parties, where they're like, they make connections. And she's like, we've been having these problems, have you? And the other girls are like, yeah, we've been having problems too. And they're like, well, why don't we do something to increase public morale? Like, why don't we all put on a live together? So, like, each of our parties can do a song, and then maybe we'll convince the general public, right?
It can't be an idol anime without a big concert at the end.
Oh, but we're only on episode 8, Star. It's wild what happens. This chain of events. So Shizuka's like, yep, let's do it. Let's put on this live. We'll convince the public. We'll sway everyone. We'll start getting them interested again. It'll be fine. So that same episode is the day of the live.
Oh, spicy.
Yeah, so the first, like, group starts to go on stage. I forgot which one it was. It might have been, like, I think it was the Bishoujo party. I could be wrong. Anyways, the group goes on stage when a helicopter comes in. And you're like, oh, who is this? And out of the helicopter steps 4 hooded figures. And then the episode ends. And you're like, oh, what's going on? Why did this helicopter interrupt the big live?
Okay. Mysterious hooded figures, you say?
Yes. Episode 9 picks up directly where we left off. People stepping out of the helicopter in the middle of this live for the Idol Diet Woman. And they throw off their hoods to reveal that they are 4 cute girls.
You're like, a new idol party?
New idol party. And then behind them steps out the Prime Minister.
The Alpha Idol.
The Alpha Idol. And he's like, hey, I called Cherry 7 here to shut you guys down. And Cherry 7 had actually been mentioned a few times earlier in the anime, but like, not really. Because here we go with the historic backstory of Cherry 7. Cherry 7 were the original idol diet women. They were the first diet women who were also idols in Japan, and they are the ones who helped support the one and so far only idol prime minister to exist before she mysteriously stepped down. So at this point, and they're also like, this idol prime minister was 20 years ago, but these girls also look like they're 20 years old or less. So you're like, how old were they when they were idol diet women? But that's fine. So this is where we get idols with weapons. So to take out the idols on stage, the main leader of Cherry 7 has like a giant sword, which she like slashes at them, which they only like defend with like their idol auras and stuff, right? But eventually Cherry 7's idol aura is so powerful because they were the best idols and also the best politicians ever that all of these girls are just crushed, right? They're like,
jeez Louise.
They're like, and the concert doesn't go on. And Cherry 7's like, we can't recognize you all as idol diet women because you are not good enough. You're nothing compared to us. Come back and try a concert and try politics again when you feel like you're better, and then maybe one day we'll approve of you, right? Mm-hmm. So they leave with all their weapons, right? Cherry 7 leaves, concert shut down. All the girls who are current diet women are like, well, shit, what do we do? So they go back to the base and they're like, hey, let's think about what we can do to prove to Cherry 7 that we should be idol diet women and put on our concert to increase public morale, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're like, you know what? Why don't we hold individual auditions between the groups, and then the best group goes head to head with Cherry 7, because then we know we're like the best 1-for-1.
Yeah.
During all this, Natsuki is like more depressed than ever. She's like, hey, even like these legendary idols don't approve of us. Like, what's the point, right? Why should I be idol diet woman anymore? But she goes along with the plan anyways. So they all do their auditions, and at the end, they're like, wow, With was the best, With being Shizuka and Natsuki's group. They're like, you guys could go against it. But then Shizuka says, you know what? I had an idea. You know what would be better than one of the parties going up against Cherry 7? Is all of us together in a big group with a big group song. And all the other idols are like, yeah, let's do that. Let's team up officially. This is just showing that if you cross party lines, you can get a lot more things done otherwise, you know? Mm-hmm. So all the girls are practicing their idol song together, right? And they're like, we're going to work hard. We're going to beat Cherry 7. Shizuka is the main leader in all this, like trying to like motivate them to do idol stuff, to focus on like practicing good and singing good and good idol times. However, during all of this, Natsuki is just like, the more Shizuka gets confident, like her trajectory is in the other way, where she keeps thinking back about all the bad things that are happening, and they keep getting the phone calls with the angry constituents. And at some points, she's just in practice and she's standing still, staring off into space. And she can't do anything. And Shizuka's like, hey, leave practice. You don't got it today, right? Mm. So Natsuki is just kind of like sad in the harem party office. She's like answering phone calls, and it's just people who are like upset about the stadium being canceled and stuff. And she's like, wow, I hate this. All we've done is cause problems. We've made things worse. When Sachie walks in and she tells Natsuki, hey, I know you feel like you made things worse, but I think you'll feel better if you, like, feet on the ground, go and talk to people like, in person. So Natsuki is sent back to her hometown. Episode 10. Meanwhile, all the other girls are still practicing. All the other idols, right? They're working really hard. Natsuki is back in her hometown. She goes to the construction site, sees it's still shut down, tries to talk to the construction workers. They won't talk to her. So she's just like sad times, right? But at some point, after sad wandering around the rice fields, she comes back home and all the construction workers are there. And she's like, what's going on? And they're like, hey, after you came back and tried to talk to us so many times in a row, we really thought about it and we were being assholes. Like, work is work. It's not your responsibility. I know you're doing your best. Also, we love your idol performances. And so Natsuki's like, what? Wait, are you actually okay? So she gets a little bit cheered up. And then on TV that night is the idol performance of all the ladies, all the Diet Woman versus Cherry 7. And Natsuki is home watching it on TV.
No.
So the group is called Smile Kiss. They perform basically the opening theme songs. You've already heard the song a lot. They're cute. They have the outfits that are like the yellow with the stripes and like the little sash across. Like, all the outfits are so cute. It's upsetting how cute the outfits are.
Sarah, when are we going to cosplay idol politicians?
I mean, that's the thing, is I would. Like, okay, here's me. I haven't really said this yet. Star, yeah. I actually liked watching this anime.
What?
Here's my Sarah confession. Like, I went into it being like, I don't want to watch this. But then, like, once I watched it, it was one of those, like, I finished an episode, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll watch the next one. And then I got into it. And, I mean, part of it might be because, like, everything is just... There's a lot that happens really fast. It's already thinking of itself as a ridiculous show. So, like, when things are ridiculous, it's not like...
self-aware.
Yeah. So it's a little bit like, okay, all right. Like, I would cosplay Idol incidents, but nobody would know.
No.
I'm probably one of the only people in this world who has and will watch this anime.
Probably.
So they have their concert. Natsuki is home. She's just alone and sad. She starts crying to her grandma, like, I couldn't help the only person that I really love, like, Daisuke love. That being Shizuka, because the red one and the blue one always are in love.
The Big D Daisuke.
Big D Daisuke. But grandma's like, no, I mean, you are helping people. You saw the construction workers. You helped them. Why don't you walk around town and see all the people you've been helping? And she's like... Okay, I'll do it. So the next day she goes to the train station where she handed out flyers, and she's like, her former political opponent is there, like the one that she took out first episode with her idol song. And he's like, I am no longer Ryogai Party. I'm an independent. You convinced me that I don't have to be evil to be successful. And also politics is something great. You're my sensei now. She's like, wow, I guess I made him better. And then, like, she goes around to, like, each of the places. So she goes to the place where there's, like, the art reclaimed dump site. And the guys are like, yeah, there was trash in the roads for a while, but then we just learned to recycle. And recycling is great, and saving the environment is great. And she goes to the preschool, and they say, oh, yeah, we lost government funding, but the Ryogai Party member that converted, he actually put his independent funds to make a charity to keep the preschool alive, and now we're not dependent on government funding, so we don't have to be uncertain about whether or not we'll stay open every year. We'll be consistent, so it's good. So, like, all sorts of little, like, oh, actually the good things are happening, it's okay.
Hey.
So all of that's good. And so she's like, you know what, I am going to go back, and I feel more confident than before. Meanwhile, after Smile Kiss, the big group's performance, there is a vote to see which group won. And again, all of this is on TV. You don't actually see a lot of Smile Kiss's performance here. It's very secondary to the politics. And Smile Kiss wins against Cherry 7 by popular vote. But unfortunately, that's not the only popular vote that's going to happen. Which is immediately after that results are aired from Smile Kiss winning, the Prime Minister puts out an emergency press conference. And he's basically like, just as planned, Idol Diet Woman, you fell into my trap.
You activated my trap card.
Because, see, the Idol Diet Woman won, but guess what they've been doing for the last week? They've been working on Idol stuff. They have not been doing politics.
Oh, no!
And you're like, yeah, actually, that's true.
That's like a legitimately good twist, actually.
And he's like, and because of that, I'm putting forth this bill where we will vote to ban all diet people from doing idol activities.
No!
And you're like, uh-oh, the end of the Idol Diet Woman.
Oh, fuck.
Pachoo. Episode 11 starts up with the news that the bill passed. Diet women are now forbidden from being idols, or they're breaking the law.
Idol illegal. Idols are illegal. AKB confirmed.
Yeah, I told you, it's AKB. This is the world where AKB happens.
Oh my god.
This
Sarah,
is the precedent for AKB.
Sarah, okay, so you know how there's like, how much Zelda have you played? And
a little bit.
The second part of this question is, how familiar are you with the Zelda timeline? And how there's 3 of them.
I know about the Zelda timeline.
I feel like we need an idol anime timeline, because this is clearly the timeline where idols lose.
Yep.
And then idols become illegal. So the timeline goes from Aqua, they graduate high school, they become Idol Diet Woman, and then idols get banned. 200 years later, AKB 0048.
Yep. And then idols are legalized. That might turn into Idol Project, where the world universe leader is an idol. Which I don't know which one's better.
Sarah, so do you happen to remember where Breath of the Wild sits on that timeline?
Oh no.
I think that's the show that I'm watching.
Oh,
I've only watched 2 episodes. But I think that's the direction that it's headed.
I'm so excited to see these timelines converge.
The converging idols, where everything just goes.
I'm so excited about our idol timeline.
Me too.
Yes. So this is one of the turning points in the idol timeline. So idols can no longer be politicians. Idols are banned. No idols. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, idols are banned, but Natsuki is no longer in despair. So she goes back to the home office, and she runs into Shizuka, and she's like, Shizuka, I'm sorry, I was sad, I've changed, I know what's going on, I need to not get ahead of myself, I need to do it for my constituents and for the people. And Shizuka's like, I'm sorry, I just went so ham on the idol thing, politics is important too, your sadness and fears were valid. Let's do this. Let's change the world together, right?
If I can be real, though, I don't blame them for focusing more on the idol stuff, because that seems much more fun.
Right?
Just my personal Starla opinion.
So they start thinking about, like, a way they can change things again. And they're like, you know what? We need to do something that only idols can do. Like, you know, the best prime minister of all of Japanese history was the Idol Diet Woman. And they're like, we can be that too. And especially because of how sad the world is, because you go out, they hear from a cab driver, they're like, you go outside and there's no idol music playing, people aren't singing and dancing, and you're like, yep, this is the AKB split here.
Yep.
They're like, you know what? Not everyone who voted for us hates Idol Diet Woman. You could see how sad the world is outside. You know what we should do? We should hold a gorilla live and change everyone's minds.
It is AKB!
Dun dun dun. AKB.
Sarah!
Yeah.
Sarah, the Converge, are they... Did
Maybe
these Idol Diet Women eventually form the actual AKB48?
Maybe. Well, no, because the AKB48 timeline is that idols eventually are outlawed, so maybe this is the first attempt and then they die.
And then
AKB happens. And then
they go to space.
Yeah. I mean, because AKB is a billion years in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll figure out this timeline, I promise.
There's a lot happening.
So they decide to put on the live, and it is the day of the performance. They feel like they got a lot of interest, and they go out on stage, and there is no one there. Final episode.
We tick off the botched concert.
Yep.
Tally on the bingo sheet.
Final episode starts where you find out that the Ryogai party and the Prime Minister heard about this girl alive. And to keep this concert from going on, they hacked into the website and they put out a false alert saying that the concert was canceled.
Those dicks!
Those dicks! And on top of all of that, it starts to rain. Womp womp.
That's another bingo card.
Yep.
Another bingo tally sheet. We're just knocking them all out right at the end here.
But then the girls look at each other and they're like, you know what? We said we would sing, so let's sing anyways. So they start performing to the audience of no one.
Well, now they're Muse.
Right? Thankfully, though, they do have AV equipment. So their performance is being streamed on, I assume, NHK across Japan. So around the world, all these other people are watching a video of this performance being like, oh, Idol Diet Women are back. How exciting. The world isn't sad anymore.
Yay. I love how Idol Diet Women are illegal. So we're going to hold a concert and we're going to broadcast it over the entire, all of Japan.
This is AKB style, baby.
Baby.
Baby. So while it's being broadcast, all the other Idol Diet Women see this and they're like, oh, we have to get over there and help with the concert. They're doing it. They're changing the world, right? Mm-hmm. So then it's a montage of all the other Diet Women trying to get to the concert. But they're having trouble because apparently the Prime Minister shut down all the exits to the highways. So they can't get there. Which in the United States, there was a whole controversy where Chris Christie shut down a bridge, which caused a bunch of problems. This is illegal, guys. Idol Diet things are illegal, but so is that.
So is that. Listen, Sarah, everyone fucking sucks here. Go on.
Anyways, they sing loud enough and long enough that they have enough time for all the Diet Women around Japan to come in to help with the concert. Meanwhile, all the locals are streaming in because they saw the live and they're like, hey, we could come into the concert. It is going on. So they start walking in and the concert venue, it's an outdoor venue. But despite the rain, there are thousands of people there, mosh pitting, having a good time. At some point, the Prime Minister's like, what? They're getting through the populace anyways? I need to go in and stop it. So he starts going in and he gets to the edge of the crowd and there's a bunch of police and riot gear and he's like, guys, go in, disperse the crowd, take them out. And then the police, instead of going into the crowd, they turn around and face their riot gear towards the Prime Minister. And you're like, oh? And then the police chief who was training Natsuki for a day stands up and he's like, actually, I'm in charge of this precinct. They're my ward. They're not going to disperse the crowd. You can't come in, Prime Minister.
Holy shit, plot twist!
Idol uprising.
Dun, 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 dun.
And then all the other Ryogai, former Ryogai party members that they converted show up and they're like, actually, if you disperse the crowd, it would be bad about their whole right to have for people's right to commune and be in groups and right of free speech. You can't break it up.
Assembly.
Right to assembly, that's it. And if you break it up, then you're actually going to be in the legal wrong area. Plus,
Ew.
This whole idol ban thing was done in a way that was quick and didn't actually give a lot of people information and could be quickly overridden. So, fuck you.
So, fuck you.
Fuck you. And the Prime Minister's like, you got me. Right?
He got reverse Uno carded.
He got reverse Uno carded. At that point, all of the other Idol Diet Women have airdropped in. They're like, yep, we're here. Let's do it. Let's perform together. And so all of them, plus Natsuki this time, perform the OP as Smile Kiss. So they change into their yellow outfits to perform.
Okay.
Everyone's happy. Cherry 7 comes in, and they're like, raise their arms, and like their idol powers shoot out of them, right?
The idol lasers.
But then like the Smile Kiss girls, like all the current Idol Diet women raise their arms, and their flowery idol aura comes out. And then Smile Kiss is like, yes, young Padawans, you are doing good.
Nice.
They're like, well, you're not a match to us yet, but we can see you have the potential, so we are proud to have you as our representatives.
What is this show, Sarah?
Yep. At the end of the concert, the Prime Minister puts out an announcement, and he's like, I'm revoking the Idol Diet Woman ban because there was no precedent, and I would get sued otherwise. But I am also going to dissolve the current diet. And which I don't know if that's something prime ministers can actually do or not. I have no idea.
Can you do that, bud?
I don't know. But and he's like, well, so now every single seat in the diet is up for general election. We'll see if the idols win their seats back, basically.
Huh. Leaving it open for a sequel?
No, because then it's time to vote.
Oh, good.
And then there's a montage of all the Idol Diet Women campaigning, casting votes. Specifically, the character that they choose to show casting a vote is probably one of the youngest looking Idol Diet Women, like one of the Wakaba party. And you're like, wow, the legal age of voting went down, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because the preschoolers voting.
Went down.
Yep. So anyways, they all voted. You can be a good idol girl and vote too if you want. And then it is election day. And
AKA concert day.
AKA election day. Where like you do actually see like in Japanese politics, like when people win a chair in the Congress seat, like they put like a little red flower next to their name and it's broadcast on the news. They're doing that. They're like showing the results come in.
Oh shit.
In the end, however, all of the Idol Diet Women won back their seats. So community approved being idols and diet women. And then it's concert time. Where you see Smile Kiss and they are performing in the main hall of the Japanese diet building to all of the Ryogai party members who are swaying back and forth with hearts in their eyes. And even the Prime Minister is tapping his feet. The end.
Converted.
Yep. Idol incident.
That was a lot, Sarah.
It was a lot. And Star, I mentioned it before, but here's the thing. I actually kind of liked watching it.
I'm so happy for you, because remember that part where I said I watched half of an episode and then turned it off?
Yeah.
I'm glad I got you to watch it instead.
Like, here's the thing. First half, it was just very episodic. Like, bad thing happens to the community. Idols go and save with idol powers. Ryogai person is converted. But then, like, at the end, where it started getting to be, like, we're gonna block them, and also, like, the balance between being an idol and a politician, and then, like, I was like, well, I think at the kindergartner episode, I think that's the one that converted me.
They converted you just like they converted all of those Ryogai party members.
Exactly. And then I was like, you know what? Despite everything, I'm actually enjoying this anime.
Amazing.
Like, it's not a good anime. Don't get me wrong. Like, like it's inconsistent. The plot twist don't make sense. Like, objectively speaking, it's not a work of art by any means. Like, again, the animation's pretty bad. The 3D in the lives, not great, right? Like, especially the first few episodes. And a lot of it, like, things are rushed in weird places and drawn out in weird places. But, like, it knew what it wanted to be and it did it. So,
you know what?
I enjoyed it.
Her.
Good for her.
Amazing.
In the end, overall, I mean, it's hard for me to pick a best girl. There's a billion girls, but only 2 of them really mattered. So, shrug.
So you flip a coin and that's your best girl.
That's your best girl. Like, there's a bunch that show up, and they show up more than once, but they don't do anything.
They don't do anything.
No, they don't. They don't. But I guess best girl is whoever you want to vote for, because you can vote in, like, your love lives, but you could also vote in your local elections.
Sarah, so I think today, the day that we are recording this, is actually, like, National Voter Registration Day.
There you go. Sign up to vote.
Yeah.
If you can, if you're old enough.
Also, the only reason I know that is because there's a banner on Tumblr that says it.
So, everyone, go register to vote, unless you're a preschooler and also the member of Congress. You shouldn't be doing either of those. The end.
The end. Moral of the story is...
So, happy Cursed Idol October, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our political/idol talk. Star, do you want to drop a hint for your episode? I guess we talked about Breath of the Wild, but...
Yeah, so mine's weird. I'm only like 2 episodes in, and I really hope it picks up. Because right now, it's just kind of cursed in, like, that I don't fully know what's going on. There's a lot, and it's just, like, they're answering questions that I didn't want answered and avoiding the main question, which is, like, what the fuck is happening in this world? Oh, no. Like, they've completely ignored... You know, there's a... this might give it away. A little too much, but I don't care because I'm going for it. So if you guys are listening to our podcast, I'm going to shill a different podcast for just a moment because it has to do with the hint I'm about to give. There is a very good horror podcast that I have been into for many, many years.
Oh, no.
Called the Magnus Archive.
Oh, God.
That Sarah is also familiar, so she's probably very scared of where this is going. Sarah, do you remember that episode of Magnus Archives? It's in, like, season 3 or 4, where there's, like, the town that just has the pit that no one taught. And, like, if you bring up the pit, that's this anime.
Okay.
2 episodes in, that is what this anime feels like.
Oh,
it's
no.
Like, we all ignore the pit.
Oh,
we
no.
do not speak of it. And that is what this show feels like to me.
Gosh.
Like, it's an idol show, but we're gonna ignore, like, the big question that everyone has about the lore that we've established so far. Because idols are more important.
Sounds perfectly spooky for Cursed Idol October.
It's not even spooky. It's just like, I don't... Talk about the pit! I want to know what's going on with the pit!
Oh, no.
Like, they refuse to acknowledge the pit, and I'm, like, tearing my hair out anyway.
Incredible.
Is the pit, like, is it a literal pit, or is it a metaphorical pit? You decide.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, so I've got a week to finish watching that, and, yeah, I guess we'll see what the fuck is gonna happen.
Sounds like
I have no
fun.
idea. I have no idea where the show could possibly be going. Anyway, hey Sarah, if people want to learn more about our show and find us online, where can they go?
You can go to our website, idoldays.card.co. That's idoldays.carrd.co, or idolluminati.net. Star, if they want to find us on social media, where can they find us?
We are on both Twitter and Instagram at Idol Days Pod. That's IDOLDAYSPOD. Idol Days Pod. We post idol character birthdays. We do new episode announcements. Sometimes we do other random shit. It's a good time. And also, if you go on our social media or on our website, you can find a link to our Discord, and you should join our Discord, where we'll post idol anime related announcements and stuff. It's got a little community vibe.
Come
Just chill,
discuss
relaxed.
The Idol timeline.
Come discuss the Idol timeline with us. Yes, I feel like now we need. God damn, everything in my life right now just deserves a conspiracy board. like going behind the scenes just a little bit. I've been playing Great Ace Attorney on stream for the last 2 months, and it's coming to a head. And I'm just I feel like in stream, I'm making a conspiracy board. I'm wait, so if this guy's in on it and this guy's in on it, then is this guy in on it? Does so and so have a secret brother that I don't know? And so I'm just going fully feral on both my podcast and my Twitch streams. Twitch.tv/thestarfishface, by the way, if you want to come and see more bullshit. By the time this episode comes out, I will have my cute official VTuber debut.
I wonder who your bone dealer is.
I wonder who my skeleton dealer was. I wonder if I drew my model and then maybe a certain podcast co-host of mine rigged it for me.
Bones! So, this has been Idol Days.
We've been Lady.
See you next live.
Bye.